The Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Byron Nelson Championship Research Picks Preview. Guess the odds in the penultimate tournament in advance of the PGA Championship. So a reminder to everyone out there is wait till Wednesday. Get your hands on fantasynational.com. You go Wednesday to Wednesday. Well, not only will you get 20% off with the code MAYO at fantasynational.com/Mayo. That part is pretty easy. But you do it on Wednesday, you get the weekly membership, and boom, you can make all your lineups, do all your research for the Byron Nelson. Then on the following Wednesday and everything in between, you can do all your research and generate your lineups for the PGA Championship as well. For everyone who may be new to this, we do a ton of content for Major Championship Week. That will start on Friday. Fingers crossed on that one that we have the salaries released. We have the full field commitments, everything like that. We expect it to be, probably better than the Masters in terms of field, but maybe not as good as the U.S. Open. Although it seems like far more Live Tour players are qualified for the PGA Championship than they are currently for the U.S. Open. A lot of these guys are going to have to go to sectionals, regionals, in order to get themselves into the U.S. Open. Not the case for the PGA Championship. So fantasynational.com/Mayo. Off the hop, smash the like, sub to the channel. While you're here, we'll probably be doing $1,000 worth of giveaways in cold, hard cash to you, the viewers. So stay tuned to that all week on the Pat Mayo Experience as we get ready for the year's second major. In the Listeners League, I do not have the link as of me recording this. Hopefully, by the time the show is released in video and audio, it will be down in the description of the pod or video. At the moment I get it, even if the pod is already out and the video is already out, then I will add it to the video after the fact. I cannot add it to the podcast. Longtime viewers know this. New viewers may not know that. So check back. There's only 2,200 spots, I think, in the Byron Nelson one because we've maxed out the PGA Championship one. Hopefully I have both down in the description for you to go reserve your entry. It's $15 to play, 3 max, no rake whatsoever, thus making it the best tournament on DraftKings. Let's get to the course. It's TPC Craig Ranch, par 72, 7,468 yards. Bent grass greens, so bent grass putting coming back into play now. Not so much at the PGA Championship. I believe those are POA. I am more on that next week when I really do my deep dive into Oak Hill for the year's second major. However, we have a stretch coming up now because Memorial is going to be on the docket. Colonial, all bent grass courses. So, we want to dig in to see the guys that have putted well on those surfaces. So a little bit on that later on. Always check the time codes for those sorts of things. There are 4 par 3s on the course, the average distance of 204 yards. 3 of the 6 holes on this course that actually play over par are the par 3s, and they're the 3 of them that are over 215 yards. And all 4 of them rank above average in terms of scoring difficulty relative to this course. Again, that's relative to this course, with this being one of the easiest courses on the PGA Tour. We've seen it twice. KH Lee has won both times with a winning score of -26 and -25. 6 of the top 7 finishers a year ago gained strokes on the field in par 3. So we can take a look at that range, the 200-plus par 3, when we construct the model a little bit later on. There are 10 par 4s on the course, the average distance of 442 yards. The top 3 holes in terms of bogey rate were all par 4s. There's holes 1, 13, and 16, but 2 of the shortest par 4s, 6 and 14, carry a birdie or better rate of over 40%, which is pretty insane. In number 16, the bogey rate was more than 3 times the birdie rate. You have 17 other holes to try to make up ground. If you can just par number 16, you're probably going to be doing pretty fine. And there are par 5s and par 4s on this courses where if you're not making birdie, you are actively dropping strokes to the field. Most of those are the par 5s. There's 4 of them, obviously, with the par 72. Average distance of 558 yards, the 4 easiest holes on the course. They all carried a birdie rate that was higher than par. 3 of them had a sub 5% bogey rate. KH Lee had a pair of eagles on number 12, and Jordan Spieth birdied every hole that day on the par 5. Scoring on number 12 is not a bonus. It's actually mandatory to have birdie or better on that hole, or again, you're actively dropping strokes to the field. We've now seen Craig Ranch for the past 2 years on the PGA Tour, and like I said, the verdict is in. It's easy. It's not the easiest course on tour, but it's almost the easiest course on tour relative to par. I think Kapalua is actually the easiest, but it's par 73, all the best players, limited field, first event of the year. Guys are going to go low unless the wind is really cranked up over the course of the 4 days. TBC Craig Ranch gave up the most birdies of any course last year and the 4th most eagles. It was also the track with the 4 highest it was inside the top 4 of scrambling rate, so if you miss the green, not that big of a deal. You can get it up and down pretty easily. And like you said, 66% scrambling rate, 4th easiest on tour. And it makes sense. Statistically, players hit more fairways here than average, more greens in regulation than average. They drive the ball farther on average and 3-putt less. That is sort of the thing that goes hand in hand with very, very low scoring. And it's funny, when we take a look at the strokes gained over the course of the past 2 years, you're not going to see like huge spike putting weeks. Like everyone putts pretty well, but it's not like someone occasionally gained 12 strokes on the green each of those years. You need to putt well in order to contend at a birdie fest. That goes hand in hand with scores going into the minus 20s. And it's not just one guy in the minus 20s. There's a lot of guys in the minus 20s. So you kind of need to be dialed in across the board, but you have to make your putts. You need to be able to hit your irons very close in terms of your scoring clubs. But the one thing that is kind of strange when you look at it, when you think about courses that have such low scoring, over 50% of the approach shots this week are going to come from beyond 175 yards. The thing is, they're just not that difficult. If you can hit it close with your long irons, you're going to be in pretty good shape. With the holes that are laid out, you do expect all of those shots. Like I said, 50% of them come in. All 4 par 5s measure between 547 and 569. You can get there into almost regardless of the distance that you're going through. Beyond that, there are 6 par 4s that are over 450 yards, with another 2 under 360. Number 14 is drivable by basically everyone in the field. It does come with a little risk, as there's a slight right to left drive guarded by bunkers and massive water hazard to the left. You'd think that it would be guys would miss to the left, but they don't. They just bail out to the right, bunker, get it up and down for birdie. The field only makes eagle at a 1.5% clip, while the birdie rate is a staggering 43%. So the difficulty that they thought would be brought in when they switched to this course just never really materialized. Number 6 plays 361 yards, but again, there's no hazard area, so some of the bigger hitters will have a go. It's just a bit too long to get to. It's 341 yards to the front of the green with bunkers situated on each side of the putting surface. Like number 14, it's slightly right to left from the tee box, but a favorable bounce could sneak a drive in between. Most guys just lay up it to like 100 yards, and everything basically from 125 and in on this course is super easy, and you can stick it as close as you want. The best players in the field, by the way, per fantasynational.com, on par 4s under 350 yards over the past 50 rounds: Alex Smalley, Brandon Justin Lower, Davis Riley, and Mr. Texas himself, the runner-up a year ago, Jordan Spieth. In terms of DraftKings, last year, are you familiar with the running back dead zone in fantasy football? We had the golfer dead zone last year. Of the top 11 players on the final DraftKings leaderboard, 6 cost no more than $7,600 and 5 cost at least $9,700. So pure stars and scrubs was the way to go. The year previous, stars and scrubs, again, Burns, Berger, Spieth, all came through over $9,000, while KH Lee was $6,900, was one of 6 $6,000 golfers to reach 100 DraftKings points that week. So stars and scrubs has been historically, it's a very small sample. It's 2 years of what we want to do. But it seems like stars and scrubs is the way that you want to go. When we take a look at the field a little bit later on, that's probably the way that you want to go about things. So let's shift on over to fantasynational.com right now and take a look at the course. Again, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself 20% off and all the stats and all the tools and everything like that. First things first, let's take a look at the DraftKings scoring in terms of birdie streaks. 8, 9, 10, 11, all pretty easy. Thing is, if you start on 10, 11, 12, pretty easy at the same time. So there's no real inherent disadvantage. Like hole number 1 is this is the second most difficult hole on the course. So you're not really going to get any sort of leverage from a wraparound, but whether you start on 1, whether you start on 10, the birdie lead up starting on number 1 is a little bit easier because 8 and 9 tend to be so easy. They both have birdie rates over 20%. Number 8 is 21%. Number 9 is 46%. The fourth easiest hole on, that's insane. Like there's a hole, number 12 has a 52% birdie rate. Number 18 has a 47% birdie rate with a 3% eagle rate. And number 9 has a 4% eagle rate. So both 9s are back-ended by 2 very easy holes, 2 of which aren't even the easiest on the course. Number 12 is actually the easiest on the course, 52% birdie rate with a 5% eagle rate. So eagles gained are going to be huge on this course, but more guys are going to end up making eagles on holes that you really don't expect because the shorter hitters are very much in play. The cut line the past few years, it was -5 in 2021, -4 in 2022. In a field of 156 players, might probably be, my best guess would be -5 with the way that scoring's been going this season. -6, very firmly in play this week, maybe even deeper, depending on how easy it gets. And like I mentioned, everything is just easier here. Driving accuracy, much easier, 64%. Greens in regulation, 71%. Scrambling percentage, 66%. Fewer 3 putts per round. You don't see a ton of them here. Average driving distance, 293 versus 283. 10 yards longer than your average PGA Tour event. The only thing that's a little bit lower, I guess higher technically, is the green and regulation proximity to hole, because when you're hitting greens at a 71% clip, then obviously, something has to give. These aren't like the most massive greens in the world, but where everyone is hitting them, the average green and regulation proximity to the hole is 35 feet versus the average of 29 feet. But sometimes when you get smaller greens, fewer people hit the greens in regulation, so inherently, you're gonna be a little bit closer to the hole. Let's go to the tournament history before we do anything else and get a leg up on that. You can see K.H. Lee, he's the man. He's won it both the years that it's been contested at this course. Don't really give a crap what happened pre-pandemic because it wasn't at this course. So last year, it went Lee, Spieth, Hideki, Palmer, James, Hahn, who won this as a Korn Ferry event at this course in 2012. So he kind of popped his way back up in there. Malnati, Davis Riley, Bezadenhout. So a lot of shorter hitters. Kuchar, Bryce Garnett. Even someone like Scotty Scheffler was he went into the final. He had a bad final round, but he was tied for 15th. I remember I bet Neiman at this course last year, very firmly in the mix until the final day, where I think he shot even. Thanks for nothing, pal, at a course where everyone's going super low. The year previously, you had K.H. Lee again. I remember Patton Kizzaire's fire Sunday to cash that each way. That was very nice. But Stallings, Bramwagon, Merritt, Seamus Power, Jordan Spieth, Doc Redmond, Kadira, Matt Kuchar. Kuchar's been good at this tournament each of the past 2 years. Hideki was T3, then T39. So when we take a closer look in, it doesn't really matter the skill set. You just need to be playing well that week, or your K.H. Lee, who continues to cash the paychecks and the big wins at this course. I'm very curious to know what his odds are going to be coming into this week, because we take a look at K.H. Lee. He was tied for the lead at Quail Hollow at some point in the second round. I don't know what the hell happened to him. He kind of fell off the face of the earth. He's not been having that great of a season. He finished top 10 in the opening event at Sentry. Easy course. So maybe beyond... We'll take a look at easy course and bent grass putting a little bit later on to kind of get a lock in. He is TPC Lee, but it's not been a great year for him. It's been okay. He hasn't been playing as much as you'd kind of like to see, but he hasn't played well in the elevated events really at all. T41, the last time we saw him at RBC Heritage before this week at Quail Hollow, but the approach play just really hasn't been there. You've seen some pretty decent weeks from him. So let's just kind of take a look at what everyone did at this course. 2022, we'll sort by strokes gained. You can see strokes gained tee to green leaders were Spieth, Hahn, and Schwartzel. Schwartzel off to the had a pretty good bunny ranch go, and then he went off to the Live Tour. K.H. Lee and Hideki. Then you had Xander, Mito, another Live guy. Munoz. I think Munoz went. Yeah, Munoz has to go. I'm not betting him first round leader anymore, so he's definitely on Live Tour. Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas were all there. You see, this field isn't as bad as you would probably think, even coming into this year with an elevated event. the week before and then a major the week after. Guys just like to play the week before a major to keep their games in tune. You see Scheffler skipped this week at Quail Hollow. He's back in the field this week. Texas guy, probably going to always play in Texas, but interesting to see. You can't be losing strokes putting to the field here. No matter how well you strike the ball, you're just not going to get there. Seen some like Michael Thompson, putted the lights out, didn't do anything else the entire week, but he was T25. Bezadenhout was T12. Malnati was 9th, and they all gained over 7 strokes putting. Bryce Garnett as well. But when we take a look at approach, it's really where you want to dial yourself in that. Tee to green obviously kind of led you in the right direction, but Hideki gained almost 10 strokes. Hahn, Hubbard, Spieth, Tom Kim, and Scotty Scheffler off the tee for the week. Champ, Hahn, Mito. Poor James Hahn. If he just putted a little bit, he probably would have won. Ryan Palmer, Kokrak, the types of guys that you would expect to see up there. Tommy had a real disastrous weeks on and around the green last year when you take a look at it. So you see kind of the balanced approach. You see the leaders, like just occasionally didn't do one thing particularly well. He just did everything kind of well. Same as Spieth. Like Spieth's irons were really good. Didn't quite have enough in terms of putting, but again, he gained across the board. Munoz gained across the board. Hideki, for all intents and purposes, did the same thing. He dropped a little bit around the greens, but not super killer, less than a stroke. You see the only guy to finish inside the top 10 losing strokes putting, I guess Hahn and Schwartzel did. Schwartzel lost. Schwartzel was right around even, but you just don't see a lot of bad putting for the week inside the top 20 whatsoever. So it's going to be one of those random weeks where someone catches a hot putter and you're going to just be there like, oh, why didn't I pick that guy? It's like, oh, well, he gained 7 strokes putting. He finished inside the top 20. It came out of nowhere. Hopefully we can try to identify one of those guys. But yeah, that's really going to be it. Even when Cashley won the year previously, it was more approach than anything. 4.5 strokes putting. That's going to be somewhat required between 3 and 5, I think, if you want to actually have a legit chance of winning. And Cashley won by 3 strokes over Sam Burns, who just didn't have enough on the greens to get himself going. He was 0.5 strokes gained. You change that to 3, and all of a sudden he's in a playoff with KH Lee. But he did everything else well across the board, like the ball striking plus putting around the green where scrambling just isn't that tough. Unless you actively chip yourself out of the tournament, you're probably going to be fine. Patton Kizzire, look at that. Lost off the tee, lost around the green, irons and putting, good enough for T3. Again, that fire round in the final round. Oh my God, look at some of these names. Doc Redmond, Luke Donald, Bronson Burgoon, Harris English, okay. Harris English having a pretty, I don't know if he's in the field this week. Is he in the field this week? Maybe that's a look to go have. Harris English, this is around the time he's not playing. This is around the time of year when Harris kind of picks everything up. We saw that with his win at the Travelers Championship 2 years ago when he beat Kramer Hickok in that 18-hole playoff or whatever the hell it was. But had a really good week the week before at the U.S. Open as well. So let's talk about the field. It's not as weak as you would expect it, as I mentioned. And, you're going to have some pretty decent guys in the field. Scotty, Day, Hatton, Spieth. I mean, that's a pretty good collection. These are the type of fields that I really like to see for these lesser events. And let's, frame it properly here. This is a lesser event at the AT&T Byron Nelson. But this is what I like. It has 4 really good players. It has 6 pretty good players. And then the rest of the 156 players can kind of pop up and do whatever. But Scotty, Spieth, Hatton, Hideki, Tom Kim, Jason Day, Adam Scott, Seamus Power, Siwoo, KH Lee again, trying to become the 3-time champion of this event. Back to back to back. I'm trying to think back to the last time someone won the same event 3 years in a row. I think it's Stricker at the John Deere Classic in the early 2010s was probably the last guy to do it. Minwoo Lee, we were seeing for the first time since the Masters when he broke my heart. You broke my heart, Minwoo. But he's back. Mav McNeely is back. Aaron Wise is back for the first time in ages in the field this week. And then you just have most of your regulars. Justin Sun, Bo Hostler, Mr. Texas himself, Bo Hostler. I don't know what he's up to, but easy events, he tends to play a little bit better, which is kind of strange considering dude can't game with his irons. Although he has the past 2 events. The putting, he went through a bad stretch earlier on in the season, but he seems to be getting back to what he used to do previously. How has he played the Byron Nelson? Hasn't played it. Okay, interesting stuff. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. It's under the AT&T Byron Nelson. Okay, last year he lost strokes on approach, gained 2.3 off the tee, 1.5 around the greens, 5 on the greens for a T17. All right, that's not so bad. Byron Nelson, he missed the cut the year before that, lost across the board. It's interesting. I mean, if Windy C can go and get his first career win, that's not in the bank as of yet, only a 2-shot lead. Dude had to... I pity anyone. I know that people played some 2-balls on Saturday and took Xander at like massive chalk over Wyndham Clark. And Xander shot a 7 under, 6-7 under, I think, and lost to Wyndham Clark. Yeah, you probably did not see that one coming. At least that's how I didn't see the 62 or 63 from Wyndham Clark coming on the Saturday to really pull ahead of everyone else. But here we are, going through everything. So the field itself is pretty good. You even have like your Kuchers, your Ben Griffins. They're all inside the top 10 in terms of total strokes gained over the past 50 rounds, just overall, before we look into any sort of modeling, anything like that. We'll shrink the size down to 24 rounds as well, trying to see, try to catch who's been a great player, or a good player at least, amongst everyone in this field over the past 3 months or so. Scheffler, Spieth, Day, Eric Cole, Cole's Hole, Sam Stevens. Oh, got to get Sam Stevens back up there. He made the cut for us at Wells Fargo in an elevated event, so it might be time to go back to him once again. Hatton, Matsuyama, Akshay Bhatia, he's getting my money again. Love Bhatia. Benny Ann and Matt Kuchar all inside the top 10. Michael Kim, another good week at the Wells Fargo as well for Michael Kim. We know that the only tournament that he ever won was an easy course at the John Deere Classic on bent grass green, so to kind of take a look at that a little bit later on, Sam Ryder, hardly knew her. Harry All, T-Dunks, Carson Young, my guy, ended up missing the cut by a stroke, really sunk a few of my really strong Stars and Scrubs lineup. No Wyndham Clark, kind of hurting on DraftKings this week. Bramwagon, Lashley. I mean, it's funny that Lashley's gained so many strokes. I didn't realize he'd been playing so well, but he actually had a pretty good turn for someone at the bottom of the field it hasn't been great. 3rd in Puerto Rico, 7th at the Sony. How has he played at the AT&T Byron Nelson? 17th a year ago in his only appearance at the Bunny Ranch. Hostler, Tommy Kim. Kim's actually turning in a pretty nice week. I don't think this tournament is hard enough for MJ Duffy to really get going. You need him at the harder courses. At least that's my perception of it. Longer, harder. Mexico, too easy. Valspar, pretty tough, pretty good there. Honda, pretty tough, pretty good there. Other than that, Valero, I can't remember if Valero played tough or not. Connors won. But anyway, probably don't need to care about MJ Duffy too much. Although if we do go to the idea of that you do want stars and scrubs, we do have to figure out who some of the scrubs are going to be. Weberlo, the guy who makes the cut every week and doesn't do shit with it. But he has made the cut in every event since the Sony Open. So if you need someone to maybe squeak through, again, at like $6,200 in this field, he may be the guy to look at. S.H. Kim is always a guy I like to look at more difficult events as well. Although he's actually had a pretty nice run. Valspar, Valero, Mexico, made the cut at each of them. Top 25 in his past 2. Not doing it with the irons whatsoever, doing it off the tee, around the green, and on the greens. If he could pick up the irons a little bit, maybe he could get himself going at an event like this. But let's try to build out the model. I don't think I have a good one for that. I believe I was on vacation for this tournament a year ago, so I probably didn't adjust anything from the first year that I did Byron Nelson, TPC Craig Ranch, and let's see what I went with. The first year, probably too much in this. I can probably get rid of some of this. Tee to green, 5%. Off the tee, 20. Approach, 20. Around the green, 10. Probably don't need around the green. Let's get rid of that. Par 4s, 400 to 450 to 500 yards, 10%. Okay, we can throw that in. Proximity, 200%. Proximity, 175 to 200, 10%. Proximity, 200 plus. 15%, par 4, under 350 yards, 5%, putting 5%. Let's get rid of putting, driving distance. We'll keep birdie or better gained in there. I'm going to scale back. Well, I have approach at 20, but I do have those 2 proximity ranges. So that kind of makes up for approach play anyway. So we'll keep that at 20% even. What do we have to fill out here? Total weight applied, 100%. That doesn't make any sense. How is that possible? Because I just got rid of some. Let's throw in putting, 5 to, try to get some of the stickier ranges, 5 to 10, and then 10 to 15, and weight those out at 5% each. See how that goes for us. and I want to throw in that longer par 3 range as well. This is probably way too many stats, but I don't have a great deal of experience at this course, so trying to gather everything from as many angles as possible. Where's my par 3s at? Par 3, there we are. 200, 225. Do I have any room for that? Yeah, I have 5% for that. All right, that's good enough. Let's dial back off the tee 5% because I do want to give 5% to birdies are better gained. Yeah, let's throw in opportunities gained instead. Where are ops gained? Opportunities gained, if you don't know, is a fantasy national stat. It's greens in regulation or better, or fringe in regulation or better. That is 15 feet or below, so an actual birdie opportunity. So let's load this in and see what we got cooking this time around for TPC Craig Ranch. I'm just going to continue to call it the Bunny Ranch because it cracks me up. Anyone who used to watch that weird HBO show from back in the day. So past 24 rounds, the best players in the field. Scotty? Scotty number 1? Scotty's number 1. Scotty does know that he's number 1. Scotty, Sam Stevens, Steven Yagabombs, Eric Cole, Aaron Rye. Okay. I don't know why the hell it's jumping on me like that. Gotta stop clicking. T-Dunks, Luke List, Siwoo, Bramlett, Charlie Hoffman. Charlie Hoffman, you say. Dylon Wu, you say. There's Spieth, Hoagie, Kevin Roy, needs to, the long-lost Roy sibling needs to get one of his wins here before Succession goes off the air. Michael Thompson, Will Gordon, Davis Riley, Jason Day, Bhatia. Again, these don't include the Wells Fargo stats. Those will be updated on Monday morning once the tournament actually concludes. Bez is interesting to me. So let's take a look at some of these. Mexico, are we still on S.H. Kim? Get rid of S.H. Kim. We'll get Chuck Hoffman. Mexico Open, Valero. Okay, he's played well his past 2 terms out. Dude can't sink a putt to save his life, but you get him back in Texas, all of a sudden it's a little bit of a different story, as it turns out. Let's see if the ball striking is going to be that good. I worry that the dude can't putt anymore at all. Let's see. Oh, no, I have to do AT&T, don't I? AT&T, Byron Nelson missed the cut a year ago. Didn't play the year before that. But the ball striking, interesting. If we need to find some scrubs in this field, maybe Charlie Hoffman should be on a short list. How has Dylon Wu been doing? Dude doesn't miss any cuts. Hasn't missed the cut since the Farmers. Okay, has he played here before? AT&T missed the cut a year ago. -5 on approach. That's not something he's really been up to much at all lately. He's been pretty good almost across the board. Gaining strokes across the board over his past 5. Gaining strokes across the board over his past 10. All right, that's good to see. Again, we bat on Bentgrass, but limited experience on Bentgrass. Bez been playing better. Look at those approach numbers from Bez. Okay, get sucked back into Bez again. Oh, that's always a fun time. 19th, 28th, 13th at 2 of those. It's funny, he had the better performances at the elevated events, the players in the Heritage, both die courses, by the way. And then Valero at a slightly longer course, irons and putting, pretty good. So Bez back on the radar. We looked at Duffy, Weberlo, Hostler, Lashley. Maybe going back to Lashley isn't the craziest idea. What's a Bramwagon been up to? I feel like he's been pretty good. Don't know what he's doing this week, but 10th in Mexico, 7th at Pebble Beach. Maybe he can putt. Does he putt better on bent? No, he just doesn't putt well anywhere. Maybe this is the week he can putt well, though. That'd be nice. Let's go to the shorter term and take a look at the past 12 rounds. And some of these stats aren't conducive with that, like the long par 3 scoring, the short par 4 scoring. In 12 rounds, you might not get any holes from that range, or just 1 hole from that range. So it's how did you play that 1 hole? So that's a little bit tougher. But even in the short term, Bez moves up to 3. Hideki coming back from injury. We haven't seen him play in ages. He is 4th in the modeling. Kevin Roy bumps up to number 5. T-Dunks and Siwoo. This could be a really good Siwoo course, actually. Was abysmal on the greens throughout the first 2 rounds of the Wells Fargo, and then chipped himself out of the tournament in the 3rd round, which is really bizarre for Siwoo Kim. But anyway, that's where we're at on this front. So let's add some of this into a mixed condition model. Let's put in my rank, last 12. So we'll get some short-term additions into it, and we'll throw in Bentgrass and the easy courses a little bit later on. I do want to look at some of these other ones from a longer-term view. So we'll take a look at past 50. Maybe got the stutter on the go right now. let's see. Past 50, we'll throw my rank into that as well. So longer term, last 50 rank. Not Adam rank, just the rank that I have going on. And I think this is probably a better version to look at in terms of the longer par 3s. So who's been better on the long par 3s, 200 to 225 yards over the past 50 rounds? Tom Kim, number 1. I'm liking Tom Kim this week. I do like Tom Kim every week, but you know, that's me. Kim, Austin Cook, Scott Brown, Doc Redman, Ben Griffin. Maybe it's another week for Griffin. Go back to the Griffin well. Badley, Hahn, Bhatia, Day. Day won this tournament. I mean, it's always been a Texas tournament. It wasn't at this course, but Day won like a decade ago and should have beat Billy Horschel in 2017, I want to say. It went to a playoff. I think Day missed like a 3-footer, 2-footer, something crazy in the playoff to end up losing. That was like in the middle of his run, too, or actually towards the tail end of his like number 1 in the world run. Billy Ho snuck away with a win that year. Merritt, Hughes, JJ Spawn, Yager. Yager keeps popping up over the past 50, like I said. Number 5 in overall rating. Maybe Yager is actually a bet this week. See how he rates out in some of the other things. So that's the top. That's the par 3 leaders. Let's throw that one in. Par 3 long term. Although we have it mixed in with the ranking. I just want to take a look at proximity and how that rates out versus this. Like Justin Suh, excellent 200-yard proximity. Bad on these par 3 holes. That's strange. Oh, the Smother Man keeps popping up a little bit. He had a very nice Mexico Open inside the top 5 in 200-yard plus proximities, but it's Hoagie, Nunez, Smotherman, Davis Riley. There's Patton Kizzire, Michael Thompson up there. How is Michael Thompson rating out this well and all this weird stuff? Has he been playing well? 29th, 39th? He just hasn't been playing a lot, but his last 3 aren't bad. And we know he can fill it up when it comes to putting. So we'll see about that. Adam Scott, the long iron's been really good, but the long par 3 is really bad. Strange. We'll see how he finishes at Wells Fargo. Top 5 going into Sunday. There, Austin Cook. Okay, that tracks. T-Dunks, that tracks. Pearson Cooney. Maybe that's the way to go here. Bhatia, very good from back there, too. It's why all the best players in the field. Tom Kim is the best of the best players in terms of his long irons. Short par 3s. Who's been the best there? Wu, Kim, Ryan Armour, Aaron Rye, Ryan Palmer, Weberlo, Ramey, Lucas Glover, S.H. Kim, Hubbard, Tyrrell Atten, Steven Yaga up there again. Man, Yager popping a lot of these things. Siwoo and Carson Young, along with Percy, Percy, Derek Ernst. Good Lord, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel if we're getting Derek Ernst into the field. Oh, he may have won on the Korn Ferry Tour recently. Just funny. Oh, man, Parker Cootie is in the field. The Cootie brothers playing this week at the Bunny Ranch. Oh. Okay, that's fun stuff. Okay, let's get rid of these because we put ranking into both of them. Just go back to regular strokes gained. And I want to take a look at, once that loads, past 24 rounds. And we're going to take a look at some of the easier courses on the PGA Tour. Easy courses. Easy scoring relative to par, and we'll take a look at per average to see how the guys are doing. Strokes gained total on easy courses. Tom Kim, number 1 over the past 24. Hoagie, Power, Scheffler, and Day are the top 5. Taylor Montgomery, Flea Market. He's been off the rails lately, by the way. Spawn, Hideki, Lonto, Henrik Norlander, who actually ball striking wise was fire in 3 rounds at least at the Wells Fargo. Siwoo, Cooch, Davis Thompson, Spieth, Smalley. I mean, Smalley rated out well on those short par 3 or par 4s as well. Mav McNeely, T-Dunks, Hatton, Mullenix, Højgaard. Oh, Nikolai Højgaard's in the field. Good for him. Coming over from Italia, where he was either the favorite or the co-favorite over there. Did not win, though, because that's wrapping up right now, and he is not at the top of the leaderboard. But has played easy courses pretty well. Bhatia and Gordon up there as well, along with Dylon Wu. Is there anyone good who plays easy courses poorly? Probably not, right? Let's see, Max McGreevy, Trevor Cohn, MJ Duffy plays easy courses very poorly. That rates out pretty well. Minwoo Lee, only a 7 under his belt. I wonder what 7 those actually are. 1 round at the Players, played really well. 1 round, WGC St. Jude, back when that was a thing. 1 round at the Open, AT&T Pro-Am. Okay, so nothing really, only 7 rounds to go on. Anyone else down here low? Not really. So what we're going to do is throw in strokes gained total easy courses into the mixed condition. Strokes gained total last 24 easy courses, chuck that in. I do want to look at birdies are better as well. Where are scoring stats here? I want to throw that one in because it turns out you want birdies or better at courses like this. Let's see. Tom Kim, birdies are better. Taylor Montgomery, all right. I mean, it's a lot of the same guys, hence why they have so many strokes gained total over this range. But B.O.B. Bob, last 24, Bob. Eagles gained, Kim is up there as well for that. T-Dunks, Davis, Thompson, Montgomery, Chappell, Grayson, Sig, all the top earners in Eagles gained. It's funny not to see Scheffler at the top of these just because he plays the harder courses so well. He very rarely plays super easy courses. Jager's up there, though. Good for him. Okay, so let's take a lock off of easy courses, and we're going to go into pure bent grass once that loads back up, and try to figure out if there's anyone that stands out above the pack in terms of bent grass putting. On bent grass itself, it's funny, I left it on this page. Birdies gained and birdies are better gained. Scheffler is now number one. We talk about bent grass only. Kim is up there as well. Spieth, Matthias Schmidt, Callum Tarrant, BVP, Bo Van Pelt. Mullenix playing better on this, but it's putting that I want to look at when it comes down to these courses in particular. Hopefully someone I like is up there. Best bent grass putters over the past 24 rounds. We'll take a look at the average of it. Sam Stevens in only 5 rounds. Eric Cole, Bezaden Hout, Harry Hall, and Matthias Schmidt. Where are all these Matty Schmidt numbers coming from? Mav McNeely, Justin Lower. Justin Lower is someone who's popped up in a few of these so far, along with Matthias Schmidt. So Schmidt, Justin Lower, maybe they're decent looks at the bottom. We'll see as the week kind of plays itself out and once we get the odds and we get the pricing. Dace, who's bad? Maybe that's probably the better way to go about it because we're going to throw this one in the mixed condition model as well. Strokes gained putting. Last 24. Bent. Get bent is what you want to do this week. Parker Cootie, last in the field. Bent grass putting. Who else here? Kyle Westmoreland. General Westmoreland. Not so great on the bent grass greens. Anyone good? Merritt's been bad, which is hilarious because you'd think of him. It's funny because his putting is either really good or really bad. Bramwagon, bad. Minus 0.5 per round. Ben Griffin has been bad. Minus 0.4 per round. Only 9 rounds. Ditto with Min Woo Lee. Alex Smalley, just a bad putter in general, so that actually tracks. Benny Ann, bad putter in general. Dylan Woo, after being up there in a lot of these numbers, way down on the bent grass putting. Siwoo, about even, and now we're in like the even range, so no one really sticks out above the fray except for Stevens, Cole, both limited samples, longer samples, lower, Bezaden Hout, Austin Cook, Sung-Yul No, Chesson Hadley, Ari Iggs, putting really well on bent grass over the past 24, Justin Suh, Tyrrell Etten, Jason Day. Maybe this is the week that Jason Day can get it done. I'd like to see him pick up a win here at some point. He's been playing really well, obviously. I missed the cut at the Wells Fargo because of that double bogey on 17. You knew he liked to get wet. And when you go attacking some pins and find the water, you're not going to make the cut, missing it right on the number. It looked like even was going to be in play for a bit, but -1 ended up being the number that we went through. So let's take a look at this mixed condition model and see what it's telling us as we factored in some of these different things. So I do want to focus more on the short-term ranking. We'll keep that at, let's call that 30% for short-term ranking, and we'll put in 25% for the longer-term ranking. So just, we hammered down on the key things that we wanted to look at, and so we'll weight those 30 and 25. So over 50% comes from the power rankings that we built, and we'll go 15, 15, 15 for the rest. Yeah, it seems about right. Let's see who this spits us out. Load in that mixed condition model, see what we got going on. My rank overall is Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Hollywood, Tom, Hoagie. All right, Siwoo is up there. That's really nice to see. Atten, Spieth, Hideki, Tyler Duncan continues to be pretty high up inside the top 10. Tom Kim inside the top 10. Akshay inside the top 10. All right, now we're on a roll here. Some of the names that I like. So I'm betting Tom Kim. I'm betting Akshay. Maybe Jason Day. Boom, boom, boom. And Siwoo. There are 4 right there off the top. We'll see if I end up getting there, because I probably want to bet Sam Stevens as well. He rates inside the top 10. There's Spawn, had a pretty good first 2 rounds at Wells Fargo. Mullenix and Cooch, who's played really well at this course, all inside the top 15. Aaron Rye, Eric Cole, Bezadenhout, number 20. EVR, number 21. Ryder, Højgaard. Limited sample on Højgaard, but Lucas Glover, Lonto, and Suh, and Smotherman all continue to pop up. Dylon Wu, number 32. Again, we have to find some guys at the bottom of this field. Although in a field like this, Dylan Wu might be like $7,300 on DraftKings and 110 to 1. Although as a long shot, that's not so bad. I don't have any impression that these guys are going to win this tournament. But if in DraftKings, for scoring-wise, they can come like 9th, then we're doing pretty well. Lower, inside the top 50, it's really just the short-term ranking that kills him. He's like field average in long-term ranking, but rates out well in total. Strokes gained on easy courses. Birdies are better. Easy courses and stroke gains putting on bent grass as well. Number 2. The guy can fill it up. Maybe a first-round leader type play, but he's going to be like $6,400. I don't know how he's really been playing recently. Let's see. Not well. Jesus. Not well at all. After finishing 8th in Bermuda, he had a nice little run at the end of the year, in the beginning of the season, and then boom, it's been really bad ever since. Maybe we cross off Justin lower. Unless you want to lower your position on the DraftKings leaderboard. Let's get some of the odds for the week. It's going to be a tough week for betting, especially with the randomness of this tournament. Maybe that will help us out if we can maybe just bet KH Lee. I have no idea what his odds are going to be. Maybe it'll be like minus 250. Who knows? But here's what I got cooking for the AT&T Byron Nelson. Scotty Scheffler 6 to 1. Might even be lower than that. Spieth 10 to 1. Tyrrell Hatton 16 to 1. Hideki Matsuyama 20 to 1. Day 22. That's probably generous. It's probably going to be like 18. But I'll say 22. Tom Kim 25. Scott 28. And then Siwoo, KH Lee, and Mav McNeely. Books love Mav McNeely. All at 40 to 1. Minwoo and Seamus Power at 45 to 1 will be the guesses this week for the AT&T Byron Nelson. I have no idea how well Seamus Power is playing, by the way. Let's see. Not great. 14th at Genesis is really his only decent result over the past little bit. And that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Again, Jeff and I are coming up on Monday. Tambo and I on Wednesday. We'll have the full DraftKings preview for you for the PGA Championship, hopefully on Friday. Then we're running it all back. Research, bets, best bets with Cam and Rob. And then Tambo and myself going at it again the following Wednesday to finalize all of your lineups for the year's second major, because there's multiple $1 million contests up for grabs. Hopefully, myself, Tambo, or one of you out there can go do that. The best way to do it, besides watching, of course, is go to fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get yourself 20% off all the research, all the tools, the simulator, the lineup generator, the ownership projections, the head-to-head tool. It's all up there for you right now. So sub to the channel, smash the like, and I will see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!